Recent times, we really don't hear anything about Boko Haram per se anymore. Are they now the ones that are the bandits?
No,
or what exactly?
Bandits are different from Boko Haram. Bandits is just acts of criminality that commence. But the Boko Haram, now when the heat was so much on them, a lot of them filtered out because one is difficult to, asymmetric warfare is such a dangerous thing.
Yes.
Difficult operation. Why? Because you don't know the enemy. The enemy is just like any other person.
Good evening, everyone. You're welcome to another edition of Just Banter. My name is Habib Enyola, as usual. Tonight, we have the extremely amazing privilege of interviewing the Chief of Defense Staff of the largest black nation on earth, Nigeria. His name is General Christopher Musa. I'm sure for most people, we don't need any introduction to General Musa, simply because General Musa has been arguably one of the most accessible Chief of Defense Staffs in the history of Nigeria. General Christopher Musa, good evening, sir. How are you today?
Yeah, fine, thank you.
Now, we're very grateful for allowing us, into your beautiful space to come and have a couple of, questions thrown at you, and then Nigerians and people all over the world, especially in the diaspora, will be able to have an insight into what has been going on so far where Nigeria is concerned. Now, we do have a couple of questions, and one of the first things that people have been asking generally is that in a democracy, how come we are seeing an increasing presence in internal security of the armed forces?
Yeah, thank you very much. You're most welcome to Defense Headquarters, Armed Forces of Nigeria. I think it's just the reality of our times that security is back into the forefront of human existence, and so we must deal with it. We were hoping that with advancement in technology and civilization, that the world will be more peaceful. But unfortunately, it seems the opposite. So we have to brace ourselves in the challenges we're facing to be able to handle it.
Very turbulent times globally. Now, with the focus on internal security, by the military and all of that, how does that affect Nigeria's geopolitical influence, for instance?
Yeah, well, generally, I think the armed forces of Nigeria have, over time, established itself fully, and so we've been able to deal with the challenges both within and outside. As we speak, we have Nigerian armed forces troops in Gambia, we have them in Central African Republic, we have them in some other countries, trying to also help them in stabilizing the challenges they are equally facing, while we also handle our own. And we do not operate in isolation, so it's important that our neighbors are equally stable.
Yes.
That will ensure that we are more stable. So that's why we are where we are.
Now that you mentioned our neighbors, so geopolitical influence of Nigeria being, like I mentioned earlier on, the largest black nation on earth, and the level of influence that Nigerian military has had across West Africa particularly. Nigeria has been able to settle civil wars in Liberia and all of that, influence, peace also in Côte d'Ivoire. Do you think that, there was any issues in terms of how our geopolitical leadership was looked upon when we had, that, should I call it standoff for imbroglio with the Mali, Burkina Faso, etc. group?
Yeah, okay. Talking about ECOWAS generally, we all know ECOWAS, Nigeria actually the main driver in ECOWAS.
Yes.
And the unfortunate incident that occurred starting from Mali, Burkina Faso, and then on to Niger Republic. These are, like I said, trying times and challenging times. Those countries do not have any direct issues with ECOWAS per se. I think basically they have issues with France. And that's actually flowed down. And so when, ECOWAS actually stands for democracy. And because there were military coups that were conducted, I think that made ECOWAS really raise a lot of doubts regarding that, and trying to encourage them to return back to full democracy. And I think that's where the issues came. But generally, Nigeria does not have any direct issues with either Chad, Niger, Mali, or Burkina Faso.
No, the Nigerian military, officers and men of of the armed forces are people who have voluntarily decided that they were going to work for the interests of Nigeria. They put their lives on the line all the time. And what you would expect from the Nigerian public in general is a lot of respect, empathy, and cooperation. Recently, there was an issue in Okwama.
Yes.
And, you know, it shocked a lot of people.
Yeah.
What happened there? 17 military personnel, 4 of them senior officers. What really happened there?
Well, it's quite unfortunate. And like you said, members of the armed forces have given their lives for their country. We stand there so that people could go to sleep, people go to work, people go to play and enjoy their lives in their own country. But unfortunately, we have the good, the bad, and ugly in the country. And what we do with them is actually that's where the challenge comes from. This issue at Obama, what really happened was it was a peace mission. The lieutenant colonel that was killed was one of the best. I worked with him when I was in. He worked under me as a commanding officer when I was in the theater in the Northeast, and he did extremely well.
I read that.
And when he finished that, we now pushed him to Kaduna Central. He also stabilized the general area, and so being in the South, what even actually is most annoying is the fact that he was not only shot in cold blood, but he was dismembered, himself and his troops. His bowels were opened, the head was cut off, his hands were cut off.
Also decapitated?
Yes. His organs were removed. I mean, it was so shocking that such a thing could happen to military men that were there on a peaceful mission. Ideally, if it was during any combat, we'll have said, okay, yes, maybe they were outmaneuvered.
Yes.
But this was peacetime. The troops met people they thought they know were Nigerians, they know themselves. They are not strangers. They have been interfacing with each other over time. So when this incident happened, he went there with the hope that, look, I'm going to talk to my friends, my fellow Nigerians. He did not go armed.
So, sir, the soldiers were not even armed?
They were not armed.
So why would they have even felt threatened enough to even address, much less murder officers?
That's when you have a bunch of criminals that do a lot within that general area unchecked. These were young guys, probably illiterates, into bunkering, they're into cultism. Yeah, they perform a lot of human rituals within that general area. So somehow they feel they're on top of the world and they're untouchable, and they feel they could take out them. But not too long ago, within that general area, some policemen were killed and nothing happened. So I think that got into them, and they felt the next people to try is the military. I think they tried the wrong organization. We will not hesitate, we will not wait until we get all these ones. We already know them, we are looking after them, and they are on the run, we know. And so I want to appeal to Nigerians, wherever they are, please bring them out. Don't harbor any of them, because it will be dangerous for you to do that.
Yes, it is an assault on Nigeria, as a matter of fact, for that to happen. Yes, sir. So last month, you paid a visit to the defense industries of Nigeria, DICON. DICON would have been established 60 years ago this year. The hopes and expectations of most people who have followed the military, like myself, since I was pretty young, would have been that DICON at this point in time would have been producing enough for us not to spend foreign exchange to acquire military hardware. Where is DICON?
Like you got, it's unfortunate that by now, with 60 years, I visited Brazil, and I visited, I saw what they've done with their own. Brazil, our own DICON and that of Brazil started at the same time 60 years now. As we speak, Brazil is a major producer of military hardware, and we're nowhere. But it's not something we sit down to cry. No need crying about spilled milk. It's what do we do next?
Yes.
The president has just approved the bill, DICON bill. So DICON is going to be open for business. We're going to invite original manufacturers. They come into Nigeria, produce under DICON, and so that we too will become major players in military hardware. And that's the plan. That's what we're doing now. So gradually, if people are coming, memorandum of understanding are being signed, because what we realize is, especially now that we're fighting Boko Haram 15 years and still counting, we couldn't get equipment that we needed, and that's why this war is prolonged. Even with our money, sometimes you go there, you are denied international politics.
Yes.
So if you don't produce what you need, then you'll be held, to ransom. And so I think it's high time that we start doing our own, and that's what we're working. And again, our local manufacturers have also stepped up. So they too are beginning to come up, and we're sure when we get the foreign international manufacturers, it will enhance our capacity and capabilities. And so very soon, Nigeria will be a major hub.
That's brilliant. Now that you've mentioned Boko Haram, which has always been something that has trended for several years. In recent times, we really don't hear anything about Boko Haram per se anymore. Are they now the ones that are the bandits?
No,
or what exactly?
Bandits are different from Boko Haram. Bandits is just acts of criminality that commence. But the Boko Haram, now when the heat was so much on them, a lot of them filtered out because one is difficult to, asymmetric warfare is such a dangerous thing,
yes.
Difficult operation. Why? Because you don't know the enemy. The enemy is just like any other person. So once they shave and they are clean, they can travel to anywhere they want. You can't easily look at their faces and say, this is Boko Haram, this is not Boko Haram. So a lot of them filtered, and because they're looking for new areas, they'll be able to filter and merge with the bandits. Criminals always have a way of uniting.
Oh, yes.
Yes, so as they're doing that, armed robbers, criminal local thieves, and all now combine together to form what is happening in North Central and Northwest. And because, again, our borders be a bit loose, and so they have a lot of people coming from outside countries to come in and also aggravate the situation on ground. But we're working very hard. The Boko Haram actually is really going down. Now we have over 120,000 that have surrendered. Over 60,000 of that number are children. They were producing a new generation of fighters that will have been more vicious than their parents, because when a kid grows in an environment, it's what he sees that he knows. So they are growing in that kind of environment. You can imagine 60,000 out of the 120 our half.
A radicalization process.
It will have been easier. So it is good that they are out, and then the DDR, the radicalization program is ongoing. We are pushing up with our own operations. Now we have to extend to North Central and Northwest, which we are doing. And hopefully we're working very tirelessly to ensure that we get it right.
The influx of arms across the borders, the amount of bandits, who are operating, quote unquote, across the Northwest, could it have anything to do with foreign actors?
Of course. I mean, we can't rule it out. If you remember that some people had prophesied in those days that in 2015 Nigeria was going to fall apart. So to tell you that a lot of people are also prophets of doom. But unfortunately, they're still standing strong, and I'm sure they are amazed why we're still standing. That's the resilience we have. I think despite our challenges, both internally and externally, we remain very strong, and the armed forces remains very solid. Nobody's going to break us because we have a bond that we have to keep. Our mandate is to secure Nigeria. We'll continue to do that, despite all the challenges. I can bet you, if we had all the equipment we need, to secure the country fully, all these things will have been a thing of the past. But we're working assiduously and hoping that will come in and other equipments. The president is really hell-bent on supporting the armed forces to ensure that we achieve our mandate, and that has really made a difference. The troops are well motivated now, and so we're moving forward.
Would you say the actors are state or non-state?
It's a new world order, so everybody's...
new world order, I've heard that quite a few times.
Everybody's struggling for space here and there.
So you don't think that, assuming they were non-states, the non-state ones, do you think it has anything to do with the religion, ethnicity, and all that kind of stuff?
I say it has to do with all.
Wow.
When criminals that want to cause havoc, they look for every means to hold us. So we have those ones on religion, those ones on economic, social challenges, normal criminals, all coming together. And like I said, criminals always come together to unite because they know what they are doing is wrong. So our prayer is for the good guys to also come together to fight the evil.
They have their own networking platforms.
Yes.
Well. Anyway, we are on the last question for General Musa tonight, and you're probably the most responsive CDS the country has ever had. You are very conversant with the views of the average Nigerian on social media. How do you engage with the public, and what kind of message would you like to give to them in terms of cooperation with the Nigerian military and how to improve on those relations?
Yeah, thank you very much. I had the privilege of being a commanding officer when I was a lieutenant colonel. I was acting brigade commander. I was in the theater in Northeast, about 4 tours of duty. So it has really given me, a good understanding of what our challenges are, and I now realize that whatever challenge we're facing, especially in an asymmetric warfare situation, you need the people. Everything you need about is about the people. The federal government, the government, and the terrorists are fighting for the hearts and minds of the people. So whoever wins their hearts, you win the battle, and that's what we're doing. So I feel and I understand. Because when I was in the Northeast, we interacted with all the stakeholders: market women, motor park, commercial drivers. Everybody, we made them understand that this challenge is not a military challenge; it's a Nigerian challenge. Every Nigerian is supposed to take ownership of it. And they rallied around us. We're getting information. If anybody brings anything illegal to a motor park, they call us. We pick him up. If they see somebody in the hospital that is not doing something, maybe injury or something, they are not sure where, they call the military. So that's really assisted, and that's my appeal. Firstly, why some of these things are being prolonged, apart from the weapons that have been difficult to get, we've had some unscrupulous elements that have been supporting them, giving them funding both internally and externally, giving them logistics, people trading with them because you make good money.
Yeah.
If you're able to take anything difficult to them, you get times 10 of the amounts in normal area. So some people get attracted, thinking they're making profit, but forgetting the fact that innocent people are being killed, and that is blood money. And for us, the friend of a thief is a thief. So if we are us, the same thing goes for them. And so our appeal again to Nigerians is to understand that we need to work together as a team. The armed forces is highly professional. We respect human rights. We respect every Nigerian, not even every human being. We are just after the bad guys. So let us put hands together to be able to take them out. That's the only way we can help this. There is no any other way.
Thank you so much, General Musa, for your time. You've been absolutely amazing. For you to even grant us this opportunity to be able to come and sit with you in the magnificent office.
It's also a lot of when the public really understands what we're doing. Because when we stay in the shadows, they don't really get, and then speculation comes in, and we don't want that.
The people in diaspora really are, they are our target market, and they are the ones who truly do not know exactly what is going on in Nigeria, because they do.
That's why I appreciate it, because at least they have a good understanding of what's really going on in the ground.
Thank you so much, sir. We appreciate you having us here tonight. And have a good day. Thank you, Mr. Musa.